Welcome to today's episode of the Africa Can Journey. Today's guest is Fiona Fiebig, an LLM student at the University of Cape Town, whose master's thesis research covers the legality of psychedelics. Psilocybin, or magic mushrooms, belong to the group of drugs known as psychedelics, which trigger changes in perception, mood, and thought. They are naturally occurring and are consumed for the hallucinogenic effects. The key ingredient in magic mushrooms is psilocybin. When psilocybin is taken, it's converted by the body into psilocin, which is the chemical compound with psychoactive properties. Numerous studies have shown that psilocybin might have beneficial effects for mental and physical health, including depression, PTSD, and anxiety treatment. It may also stave off substance misuse and help to treat cluster headaches and migraines. Hi, good morning, Fiona. How are you this morning?
I'm good, thanks. Thank you for having me on your channel.
Thank you for joining us. We've known each other for quite a number of years, but our viewers do not. So please introduce yourself and a little bit about what it is that you're currently doing.
Great. My name is Fiona Fiebig. I'm originally from Lesotho. However, I'm currently living in Cape Town and studying my master's in commercial law at the University of Cape Town. I am a huge advocate for the decriminalization and legalization of psychedelics, more specifically psilocybin in the Southern African region. Psilocybin is better known in the colloquial term shrooms or magic mushrooms. So in my effort to contribute towards the movement to decriminalize these mushrooms, I decided to write my master's dissertation on a topic focusing on directors' duties and liabilities regarding future psilocybin businesses. And I am glad to be here today to share some of the current findings that I have.
Okay, sounds very exciting. But also doing and conducting research in such a new area, I'm sure it also comes with its own unique challenges. What have been some of the challenges you've come across while conducting research or just generally while working on your paper?
Definitely, it came with a lot of difficulties. The main one being that there is generally a lack of published legal research around psilocybin specifically. There is a lot of medical research regarding the mushrooms and their medical benefits. However, in terms of the legal sphere, there's hardly anything. So as a way of trying to broaden my research, I decided to compare the future policies in psilocybin to those that are currently available in cannabis, because I personally believe that psilocybin is going to be regulated in much the same way that the cannabis industry is currently regulated. Yeah.
Okay, no, that's a very good point. I recently had an interview with Jordan Curl, a consultant in this area, and he also highlighted similar views. And generally, I have come across a number of articles that also highlight the lessons that can be learned from our experiences in the cannabis industry with this new budding one. So with that said, just, in some of the preliminary research I've done, I've also looked into other psychedelics, such as ayahuasca and so on. And that seems to be more prominent in South American countries, maybe peyote in the Northern American context. In Africa, are we as familiar with using psychedelics for particular treatments, or would this be considered a new plant-based alternative medicine?
Africa has been using psychedelics for thousands of years for religious, spiritual, and health problems. Examples are actually range back all the way to ancient Egypt. It was actually seen as the cradle for psilocybin, and they used to call it gift from the god Osiris. And they used to say that it is food from the gods. and only pharaohs and religious leaders were allowed to eat these mushrooms. There's even research that shows that many of the hieroglyphics in Egypt have pictures of mushrooms in them, depicting the trip that these pharaohs would go on. Other forms of psychedelics would be found in Central Africa, in the rainforest areas of Cameroon, Gabon, and Congo. It's known as iboga specifically in Gabon. And it's a dark, bitter bark from one of the plants that's found there in the rainforest. And you ingest it and you get all these mental benefits and physical benefits as well. And actually closer to home, there's also a psychedelic that can be found in Botswana. It's called the kwashi plant, and it's used by a certain tribe in Botswana called the Dobe Bushmen. And it's very interesting to know that they have their own range of psychedelics so close to home.
Oh, that's fascinating. And again, I think not much has been said or discussed, particularly around psychedelics. And many African countries are just warming up to the idea of having a legal framework for cannabis. So it would be very interesting to see what the future holds for psychedelics. And with regard to your research that is also forward-looking, I'd like to know what are your hopes and what would you like to see, whether it's with regard to Lesotho specifically, South Africa, or even Africa more broadly?
Well, my focus at the moment is generally within the Southern African region. So I know Lesotho is already making great strides within the psychedelic industry, specifically to psilocybin. They recently were the first African country to get a license to cultivate psilocybin. So that is very encouraging. And here in South Africa, they haven't gone that far. But one of the encouraging things that did happen this year was they hosted the first Cannabis and Shroom Expo. Usually it's just the Cannabis Expo, but this year they decided to extend it into the Cannabis and Shroom Expo. So it's great to see that people have started these conversations and started like speaking about the legalization, the health benefits, and how it can benefit the country generally.
Okay, no, that's very encouraging. And the fact that, psychedelics are having a platform as well at these expos. I mean, it started with cannabis expos. So the fact that psychedelics are already being acknowledged as maybe the next plant-based industry that will be advanced is also quite exciting. Well, Fiona, I hope to stay in touch with you and follow up on more developments as they come through. I am also aware that Lesotho is looking to release formal regulations relating to psychedelics and psilocybin specifically. So hopefully when that is out, we can also have another great interview where we can discuss some of the details that will be before us.
Great. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Bye.